Getting a piece of code for your application is one thing, but building a complete production ready app and making it live for real users, that's a whole different challenge. In this video, we are not just generating some code, we are building full-fledged quiz app using the Coders Bakery from start to finish. And the best part, by the end of this video, the app will be live and I will share the links so you can try it for yourself. I will walk you through the entire process, generating the app, configuring it, and deploying it, so you can see firsthand how easy it is to build the applications using the Coders Bakery. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited for this. So let's dive in and start building. So you can just log into the Coders Bakery portal and get started. So for building any application, you have to first add all the entities you want for your application. And for the entity design, you have to take your pen, paper and get started on that. Or you can have some suggestions from our master AI to generate all those entities. So let's do that. So either you can use master AI to generate all your entities, or you can add each entities one by clicking add your first entities. So you can try any of these way, but I'm gonna show you how you can use master AI to generate all the entities. So I'm talking about entities. So entities are the basic building blocks for your application. So what you have to do, you have to think of all the building blocks of your application. For example, for our quiz app, the building blocks will be users, category, subcategory, quiz, answer of the quiz, score of the user, and status of the user. And similarly, for any application, you have to think of all the entities beforehand, and or you can just use this master AI. So you have to put the prompt describing your app. For example, this will be quiz app with category and subcategory selection. So once you put up the prompt, you have just have to click the get entities button and it will generate you some entities, and those entities you can use in your app. So here I will select from the list given. So category, subcategory, and user score, and what other you can choose. So you can choose whatever is available here. So this have suggested as a separate for question and option, but we don't need that. We need a single entity as a quiz, right? So for this one, we'll generate directly from here. And once these entities are generated, you can add other entities as per your need. So I will add some more entities here. So the one will be quiz, and in quiz we'll have question. So you can see how I'm adding this, like you have to add the entity name and then label of the property, right? So the quiz will have question and default will be text and string, and add other properties as well. So quiz will have options like option 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it will have the answer. And in answer, the input will not be text, it will be drop down. And for drop down, you have to enter some options. That will be option 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whenever we are going to add any quiz, we have to add all 4 options available with that question, and then we have to choose the correct answer for that. This is I'm talking about the admin side. So while adding the quiz, so once you save it, you'll get it here. What other entity do we need? We need status, right? So let's add that as well. So I'm adding status manually because I have to show you how you can add a relationship between two entities. So status will be a particular user, and then with that user you will have the category, right? So let's do that. So first one will be user, right? So for building up the relationship, you have to choose the input type as an ID. So once you select that, you'll get the list of all the entities here. So you have to select user here and then add property. Again same, you have to choose ID from here, and then you have to select the subcategory, because we'll just link the subcategory already have relationship with category, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we'll have last attended, which will be a string which will store the last attended quiz by that user. Let me add last attended. Okay, and then I can just simply save it. So now after adding all the entities, first we have to make sure all the entities which we want to include in our app should be active. So default is false, so just click on that and then it will become true. So once all the entities are true, we are good to export our application. For that, I can see we have export your project button over here. I'll click on that. Will be redirected on the export page. So here you have some prompt. I can close this. You can read in detail of all those prompts, but we'll get started on exporting. So here are some tabs which we have to go through and to configure the application. So first thing I can see here is the theme. The theme is related to all the customization and branding of your application. So that includes logo. So upload a logo. I've already created a dummy logo for this application which I'll choose. So you similarly you can add an app name, a description, taglines, and select a color for the application and put a random port on which your application will run. Okay, so these you can fill out by yourself, and then we have another tab. So I can click on the next tab. So on the next tab I can see what are the versions I have already used, and then this here we don't have to do anything, we just have a list of all the generated apps. And then next, here you can select the tech stack in which you want to generate the application. So front end you can choose between React and Angular, and similarly for the database also you can choose between SQL and NoSQL. My preferred stack right now is month, so I will choose that, and then I will say next. In the next, you will see that there are multiple options given: landing page for your app, chat room, Stripe, and Razorpay and PayPal integrations, right? So we do not need any payment for this application. We are not going to touch these, and chat room we do not need right now, so we'll remove that as well, and just landing page for this app. Okay, and then we will configure each entities. For each entities, make sure you read all the properties given here, and you have to select as per your need. So for subcategory, it will select the all everything should be selected apart from this auth module, right? Auth module will be attached to user only. So just make sure everything is here, and I have deselected the add entity functionality from the main module, right? Because we do not need that. We do not want users to add any entity subcategory, right? So similarly goes for category as well. So click on the category, make the same selection for category as well, remove the auth if selected. By default it is not selected for anyone. Just make sure in user you have auth module selected. And the entities like scores and status, you just have to make sure you do not have selected any add or edit functionality. Okay, and we do not want any main module or admin module, because these entities will be generated behind the scenes, right? And once all the entities are configured, we are good to export our project. And just before exporting the project, we will make sure we understand the user flow of the application. For admin, it will be just log in and add the category, add the subcategory, and on top of subcategory you can add quizzes with answers. And on the other side, for the normal users, it will be login and it will be redirected to the main page of the categories, like all list of all the categories, and selection of categories you will redirect to the list of subcategories for that particular category, and then in selection of category you will be redirected to the list of quizzes, right? Or list of quizzes, or you will be redirected to the last quiz you attended for that subcategory. Once you get the quiz, you can either answer it or leave it, and then you can select the next question to be answered, and on each answer the score will be updated and your last status will be updated. So let's say we added 10 quiz and user have reached 10 quiz, then it will show that we do not have any other quiz to be attended. Okay, that will be the user flow for both admin and user. Let's export the application and play around the code base. Once all your configuration is done, you can simply export the application from here, clicking on the export button here. So we have export, and also you can create the repo in your GitHub account. So we'll do export, but before exporting, just make sure your window have the does not have the pop-up blocked, right? And then how you gonna check that? So here, if you click on here, you'll see this pop-ups and redirects. You have to make sure that the pop-ups are enabled in here, because when you once you download it, the zip file will be downloaded in the pop-up, right? So let's do that. So I'm gonna click on this, and this will take some time because behind the scenes the landing page and everything is building. So take up your phone and scroll through the Instagram. I know you are going to do that only, so better to start now and then wait up to minute or two, and then it will be generated. So it will either give you option to rename the folder, or it will directly download with some random ID, right? So once you have that, you can rename the folder, then you can open it in the VS Code or any code editor you want. So now you can see I have this folder open, the quiz app. In that you will see two folders, backend and frontend, and I will get into the structure of this in detail. For the backend, you will see that we have all the routes here. So for each of the entity which you have created, all the routes are created, and you'll get all the routes here. And if you want to make any change, you can just simply click on user or any of the routes, and then go to each of the routes and make changes over here. And we are going to make some changes in one of the entities, and I will show you how you can do that exactly. And similarly for the front end also, like if you go to the source folder, you'll see that we have app. In the app you will see all the folders of your code, like all the components, all the constants and helper modules and modules, services, store and utils. You can go in the depth of the code base reading all the codes. And in the modules you'll see there are three different modules: admin, main and auth. Main is the user facing one. So once we run this application, I will show you how you can make any changes in any of these folders. But before that, we have to make sure we have the database configured, right? So if you remember, we have selected MongoDB as our database, so we are going to use that. So I have MongoDB installed in my local, but if you want to run this as an independent project, you can create an Atlas account, and from there you can choose a free one, right? So I'll show you exactly how you can do that. Open like your Chrome, and then go to MongoDB Atlas, and here you can create a free account and then use that database in your project. So how to do that? So to sign up with MongoDB, I will do a sign up here, and then you accept it. Let's go. So once you log into the MongoDB Atlas, you will see these kind of selection. You can simply select all these things as per your need. So primary goal is to learn MongoDB, we can say that. And how have you been developing? So if you are new, so you can say I am never, or 1 to 6 months of experience, right? And similarly, you can put details about your project. So we are going to use Node.js, so we'll select that. What type of data will be your project use? So I'll see any random thing you can select from here. So I'll see user activity and messaging data, that's it. And then what application are you include? Architectural mobile, you can select any data. You can select anything here, and then once you finish that, it will ask you these options. So go to free one. Make sure if you are not ready to pay, then go to free one. It will give you some storage which will be okay to get started, right? So other than that, don't touch anything, and then say create deployment. So once this is ready, you will get this, right? So you can just copy paste the username and password from here, and then you see create user, and then choose a method, and from here you will see that you will get a connection link. Okay, so I don't see that. Let's done it, and then come here. So once this cluster is ready to use, you can click on connect, and then it will go to drivers, and then here you will see this link, right? So let's copy this and make sure you replace the password here. So whatever password you got it on the first screen, you have to paste it over here, and then you copy this to our project. So in the project, you will see here we have the database settings. So instead of db host and everything, you will see db underscore url and the value, right? So once the database is configured, let's set up the project itself. So here in the quiz app, let's go to backend folder and do npm install. And similarly in the front end also we'll go do and that, right? So front end npm install. Okay, so once both front end and back end set up, all we have to do is to start the application using npm start. The front end will start running on the given port, and on the backend side also let's run this, and you'll see that MongoDB is established. So you are connected to the MongoDB now. So front end and back end both running. Let's run this UI. So once in the browser, open this port, you'll see the application. Okay, so this is the landing page of our application. You can slide it down and see. You can check every data and photos are available. If not, you can just simply edit it in the application. So let's see where in the application you have to edit that. So in the code base, close both the folders and open the front end, and in front end source app in modules, in the main page you will see there are two folders, components and pages. Okay, so you can pause it here and see the folder structure and check out it. You can check it, and in the pages you will see the landing folder, and landing folder you will see this whole folders where you can see make any changes. Okay, so the hero section will update something and will check. In here you'll see that it's data over here, enlist your curiosity for quizmaster, right? So we'll make a space over here and we'll check here. This there is a space over here, so you can make any changes on the landing page. For example, if you want to change the images or you want to update any wording or anything, you can do that. And once you are ready with that, you can click on get started and it will redirect to the login page. And remember, in your env file you have configured email and password, or if not, you can go back to that and you just configure that. So you can go back to the env file in your backend folder, and then you can check email and password of the super admin, and then you can just simply log in. So once your project is set up and you see the admin panel, you'll see on the left hand side you have all the entities listed down, and if you want to configure one of the entity, you just have to click on that and you will be redirected to its page. So we'll start with category. So here we do not have any category. We will add one by one. So let me add one of the category, which I will add as web development. And in description you can put anything you want. I will put some random values here. As we have already selected the image for this and we have configured Cloudinary, we can easily upload an image for this one. So once you select that, that will be get uploaded in your Cloudinary storage, and then you can submit it. And once that is submitted, you will get that in your list. And similarly, we are going to add some subcategory. So once I open add some subcategory, I'll see here. So under web development, we'll add a subcategory of React. So now we'll put a description of saying React is a front-end framework, and then you have to select the parent category ID, which will be web development, and you can select any image from anywhere. So I'm selecting a random image for now, and then I will submit it. Once the subcategory is added, now we should move to quiz. So in quiz also you will just click on add quiz and add a quiz from here. So here you will see question option 1 2 3 4 answer and these subcategories. So subcategory we will select React and we will add the question here first. So let's add a basic dummy question. What is React? And let's add some options. So first will be library. So and in the answer you will select the correct option from the given. So the option 2 is the correct one. We'll do that and we'll add more questions like this. So once all the questions are added, you can simply go to category and start viewing the user side of the screens. When a normal user will log in to play the quiz, how it will look for them, right? So we are for that we are going to click on a user view from here. So once I click on that, I will be redirected to the user side, right? So this is what the user side will look like. You can make the CSS changes and update it according to you, and I will also do that, but in the later stage. So first let's discuss how will be the flow. So once we have this category list over here, so we have only added a single category. So here we are seeing single category. So once you click on this category, you will be redirected to the detail of this category. But we don't want that. We want to be redirected to this subcategory of this category, right? So for that, you have to make some changes in the code. So let's do that. So on the code, first open the main page, right? So in the front end source app, you'll go to modules. And as we are working around the main module, we have to click on the main module and go to the pages. And in pages, we'll see all list of all the pages, right? Here, our first page which we have to take care is categories. Okay. So once you open this categories, you'll see here is the component, right? In the component you will find somewhere here where you see the card of each of the category, right? And here also you will see that the link is given. So this is where we are being redirected. Okay, so you can open the card and you can see that what is inside this. So here you will see that we are passing this link from here. So the link will be where we have to redirect it, and the data will be the actual subcategory which we have to show, right? So you can see this here. So now we don't want to be redirected at main slash category. Instead of that, we want to be redirected at main slash subcategories, right? So we'll do that. And if you want to know all the routes which have been created for this app, you have to go to router.tsx, which is in the main source file. So once you open that, you will see here all the routes which have been created. So for categories and subcategories, separate routes have been created. So let's implement that here over here. So you have to make sure the link has been updated accordingly, right? So I'll go to the card, and here I will remove this dot id from here. We don't want that. And here also dot data.id you have to remove, and the link should be updated to the categories, right? So let's do that. So here you just have to update these, so subcategories, and you have to pass the category id to the subcategory. Okay, so I will just pass category is equals to, and I will pass the category id here. So I'll just do category dot underscore id. So this is how the id is stored in the database. So we have to pass this over here. So what it will do, it will redirect at us to subcategories, and the link will contain the category id of that category. Okay, so and then we have to do one thing, that we have to go to this subcategory component and fetch this category id, and then load the subcategories according to that. Okay, so let's do that. Once we do that, you will get a better understanding, right? So first we have to go to subcategories and open this, and here we have to get the category id from the link, right? So for that we are going to use our React router DOM, right? For the React router DOM, we will just import our use search param, right? So as we are passing the data from the search param, so we are going to do that. So now we will use this use search param. So I don't think so we are using this new navigate. I can remove that, just cleaning up a little bit, and using the use search param, I will create a new now this search param, what I will do, you will create a use effect, and we'll get this category at the load of this application. So on the load, I will just create a constant category, and I will get the search param from here. So search param dot get, and we are passing it as a category, so I'll get that from here. And if I get some value in this, so if I have some values in the category, I will just update my filters. So this filters will be category is equals to the value of this category, right? So let's do that. That's it. And this is how we are going to update our filter. And once that is updated, always it will consider that filter. Okay, so now on the load, you will get set the filter for the category, and once that is done, you just have to make sure we are passing the correct categories from here. So let's try it in this one. So here In the categories, I'll click on this. So in the URL, you will see the subcategory slash category, and you are passing the ID. And once that is passes, according to that only subcategory is loaded. And also you can check in the network tab how it's the API has been called, right? So in the inspect, go to the network tab, and here in the filter, you will see that the category has been passed, right? So filter for the subcategory, the category is passed, and according to that only category has been filtered. And similarly, you have to do the same thing for the quiz, right? So once I click on this, it should redirect it to the quiz, and quiz should be loaded according to this subcategory. So now you can see that I've updated the quiz file as well to get the list of quizzes, right? So I click on this, I will get the both the quizzes. So here are few things which we have to update in the quiz section. We have to get a single quiz at a time, right? So for that, what we'll do, we'll change the table size to from 9 to 1. So once we do that, you can refresh, you will get one. We don't want load more for now, so we can remove that as well. So if you go at the JSX part of this component, you can remove the load more from here. And we have to update a lot of things from here. So you just keep removing which is not being used. So here what will be the flow, right? So for the user, it should be like it should not be a card, it should be an answer and question. So you should see the question, and then we have 4 options which will be shown as a button, and once on the click of this button, and we will check the answer from here and compare the answer given by the user and the actual answer, right? And then once that is right or wrong, according to that we show the message or the color or anything, whatever we want to show, right? So we will do that. So either you can by yourself try that, so or I will give you a gist of how you can do that, right? So first of all, the major thing which we have to do is to create a separate card instead of this so instead of this component, we'll create a replica of this and make a quiz card of, instead of this, right? So let's do that. So we have card over here, we create a new component in this one which will be quiz card, and once we have a folder, we will create a file inside this, right? So let's do that. So I will create an index.tsx which will be a component file, and then you can create a index.module.scss, right? So that will be your style file, right? And then you can get started using the same component. So I will make a copy of this card, but just the useful things, right? So let's do that. And this will just create a placeholder for now, and then we'll update accordingly, right? So we have to make sure the name of the component is updated properly. So what we need from here, we don't need anything. We don't need chat, we don't need external view fields. Only we need is fields and data, and even for fields we do not need that, only data is needed, right? So we'll remove any extra data from here, and I don't think so we do need anything from here, so we'll just remove for now, we'll just remove it everything. Okay, so this is our quiz card. So we will update the quiz list here. So instead of this, we'll say quiz card, and this will be imported, right? So link and everything should be removed, only quiz should be passes from here. So for each quiz we will just show the quiz accordingly, right? So data is this. So first what we have to do, we have to first show the question, right? So first we will show the data.question, and then we will keep adding the options down, right? So something like this, you will add a question and all the options here, and then you can add the CSS for this, right? You can quickly add some basic CSS in this, and then you will see something like that. So on hover, it should be clickable, right? So on click, what we have to do, we have to just compare that, right? So let's do that quickly. So I will go to quiz, and here I will create a function which will compare, right? So const get answer, and that will be like this, and this should be called on click of any of these options, right? So what I will do, I'll just add a on click event on all the options, and we will call this function, and from this function we'll just pass the options which have been selected, right? So 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so here we are getting the option which will be a number. Okay, and then on this one we will just compare it, right? So from here you can develop some logic and put a lot of logic here, like what you want to do next, right? Like once they have answered that, you have to make an API call, you have to store that answer to the backend. Every quiz specific logic you can write over here, right? You can make any call. So for making any API calls, you just have to make sure you know how to call that, right? All the entity specific API calls have been already created in your application, right? So for that you just have to close all the folders in the app and go to services. In services you'll see the API, and API also you will see all the specific services, right? So here you will see that all the APIs have been created. You just have to make call to this. How do you make this API call? You just have to check the existing component. So in this categories, if you see here, we are using subcategory service, and from subcategory service we are making calls to get, account, filter and everything. So you just have to call like this, and if you go through the code base properly, you will get to know how this has been called. So I will close all the files, and now what I will do, I will make a good change on this. So I'll update the CSS and everything before making it live. Okay, so that is something you have to do according to you. So you just have to apply the CSS and everything as should, and then you will get a good UI. So now I will show you how easy is to run the application in the backend. So go to your terminal where backend and front end is running. So you just have to shut down the front end and run the command of npm run build npm build ssr. So this will build the front end in server side rendering form. So now once I will restart this will start running in the backend. So instead of running on the 5173, we will run this on a backend portal and we'll remove the rest of the things. So this will give us the front end, right? So you can go to terminal and then log in using the same credentials, and it will give you everything same as that. So now the whole application is running in the backend. You can just check everything is there, and then you can add multiple queries, or deploy this to production and then use it to upload the quiz. Okay, so now everything is ready. So in order to deploy it to production, first we'll move our repo to GitHub, right? So let me open my GitHub for now. So on your GitHub repo, create a new repo where you want to store this. So I will add a quiz app here, and I will add the quiz app for fun, and I will make it a private repo for myself, and then I will create the repo and I will add my code base here. If you're totally new and you don't know how to use the GitHub, you can go to tutorials to learn that, and then just use these commands in your application to push this code, right? So once you have pushed all your code to the main branch, you can just refresh it and we'll check whether this all the code base is here or not. Backend, frontend, everything is here. So you just have to open a new branch and you have to go to render, and then render is a platform which will give us a free setup for the server, right? So we'll use that for now. So get started for free, and on this just use GitHub to create an account, and this will give you access, authorize render, and that's it. This will help you to set up your whole account with this. So once I create on this, you can verify through the mail, and this will let you install the application there. Okay, so let me verify. Once you verify, you can just get into the application by logging in, and then we are going to say we are going to use web services. Okay, so our application is a web service, so we will just click that on that, and it is asking us the git provider. We'll say git, and So once you configured your GitHub with this, you will see all your repo here, and you get to select the app you want to deploy, and you can deploy that. And here you can give the name and the language which in which this will be working, the branch which is selected or main. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do anything here. And then root the directory in which you have to move it. So let's move it to backend. Okay, and then in that backend we have to run npm start. Okay, so we'll select for free. You just have to make sure you have this has a hobby project, so it doesn't charge you anything for now. And for the environment variable, you can add it from your env file. Once all your environment variables has been added, you can just deploy it. So it will take some time. Meanwhile, you can scroll through your Instagram and just wait to get it deployed. And once that is deployed, I will just share this link, and you can also follow the same steps to get your application deployed using the Coders Bakery. So this is how you're gonna build the whole application end to end, with front end, back end, database setup, everything, and making it available for external users. Okay. So if your application is facing some issues connecting to the network, Atlas network, so you just have to go to network access. From here, right side, you see the network access, and here you have to edit the list of IPs, and then you have to allow 000/0, which will allow them to connect from anywhere. Once this is configured, your Ender app will be able to connect to Atlas server. So once all the configuration is properly done, you will see that the build successful message, and then you will see some kind like all the kinds of command running over here, and finally you will see that your service is live over here. So that means the service is live now. And in order to see the actual deployed application, you just have to click on this URL on the top of this. So once you click on this, you'll see that the application is live now. So following the whole documentation here, you can build any application and make it live within a day. Now I'm going to share this link with you guys. You can play around this quiz app. Also, I'm going to update some UI, so make it more beautiful to be used. And similarly, you can also try out the Coders Bakery and build your own application. And feel free to comment out if you stuck at any place, and I will try to help you as much as possible. Yeah, thanks everyone. Let's bake it.